Yes, I've been working very hard in the woodland gardens, and I've been cutting back and doing all kinds of preparing for the spring. So I'll just show you around what I've been doing. It's so beautiful to work outdoors, but it's also one of the coldest and darkest times of the year. But this is the only time of the year really when you've got that window of opportunity to get cutting back and reinvigorating everything in preparation for the spring. So one of the big tasks I've had to do this year, and I've spent most of this week at it, has been the orchard. Now in total, I think I've got about 40 fruit and nut trees. Now most of the nut trees are okay, they're hazel, so they can be left, and the sweet chestnut. But the apple trees have needed pruning for a very long time. So there's been quite a drive now just to get that done, and it's very laborious because it's having to stand back and look at the tree all the time to make sure that, you're actually cutting the right bits, taking it down by about a third in total. Actually, I've done more of an extreme cut back on these apple trees because it's been quite a few years since they have been cut. So, yeah, you can see what I've been doing here. And the shredder has been at work, been using the shredder, which is parked up in the polytunnel. You'll see that in a few minutes. Every so often I stop and have a little bit of a walk around. This is the Mahonia, which is doing magnificently well on the edge of the woodland gardens. A very important shrub for errant bumblebees during the winter months. Also there's been willow, which I've cut back. Anything that's going at a sort of a 90-degree sort of growth pattern is taken out. That is the willow, of course, because that just gets heavier and it comes down. Now you can see where I've dumped quite a lot of the cuttings in there on the bank. This is the north bank of the cottage. You don't see many people out in the gardens at this time of the year. But it's such a beautiful, magical time to be out because it's fairly quiet. Yes, there's birds around, but they're not using their energy singing or calling to one another because the days, of course, are very short. The nights are very long. So they need to get as much food into them, as much foraging done as possible in order to just maintain themselves through the long nights. I've cut down all this bamboo as well. This is the little entrance to the little bank that I'm building up. Year on year, this bank has become extended with cuttings, and it just becomes a great big habitat pile, which is lovely for this time of year. And it's a very valuable space, taking it through to the winter and the spring. A lot of the little insects that we are so forlornly crying about that don't seem to be in kind of healthy population at the moment, they rely on little habitat piles like this. They rely on leaves that are stacked or blown into ditches. So important for them. So there's more light coming through, a lot more light. It's starting to look good. I've also cleared a lot of the vegetable patch. I've got some veggies to put in there. I had some, I think it's kale. I think it's kale that I've got in pots that I'm going to put in here. But I've also been cutting back all the overhanging shrubs along the veggie garden. cutting back the willow arch. A lot of people ask me, you know, how do you prune this or how do you prune that? I'm not really an expert in that direction, so there's no point in me giving advice. Everything that I've learned to do just through trial and error, which is as good a method as any other. And yeah. So I'll just take you over to the tunnel now because this is where a lot of the wood's been stored, and I have had some help in terms of using a small chainsaw, a little electric one. Just in getting wood logged up. Some of the wood now has become quite thick, so it's great to have it logged up. And the thinner bits, of course, can be cut fairly easily, and that makes good kindling. So there's a lot stored like this to be shredded, and then that's going to go out round the orchard. And lots of spirea and ribes that have been cut back. I mean, some of it's got so high, it's like maybe 10 foot high. And this is some of the bigger logs here. And the polytunnel is a brilliant place just to dry them out. So that's working well. So I can see this work continuing now for quite some time, probably right through until Immock. And those of you who have been interested in my little walking diary, that's over on the website. That's bealtonacottage.com. There are links below every video to the website, to the Facebook page, to Twitter, where I upload photographs, lots and lots of photographs. And also, the calendar is still for sale. So I have dwindling copies of the calendar. So if you want to order one, again, the link is below each video. And that's over on the Bealton Cottage website, which again, by the way, is advertisement free. So that's it. Now I've got to prepare this beautiful window for the Yule celebrations. That's the next job I have on my list. Blessings to you all. Thank you, Roxanne, for the beautiful Yuletide gift. And thank you, Susan. Thank you so much. And a special thank you to Alison. Thank you so much. You're very kind and very generous. Thank you. A little view of Bealton Cottage when I first bought the cottage. And this was the land looking up from the road and the land looking down from the cottage. Blessings to you all.